Hi, everyone.
Hey, Family Fab 76 fans. Daddy Darko here.
Papa Redbeard.
And this is part 2 of our adoption journey. So, to start this off, we are going to be very general in this part because a lot of it's very emotionally up and down. And we don't want to disclose too much on the internet before we have a chance to really process that through with the team.
So, but everyone that follows us, read between the lines, you adults. You know the true feelings behind everything, what we truly want to say.
So
we're all adults here watching.
So this would be, and it's more about our experience with the foster care system than with his parents, and
how we dealt with it emotionally,
and how we learned on the fly to navigate the foster care adoption system. And trust me, it's on the fly. So we can't speak for every state. We can only speak for New York State that we're versed in, and how that all works. So hopefully, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask us in the comments, and we're more than happy to respond to them. So we left off with he had surgery. We just left the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
We were getting married. And in the interim of leaving the hospital and getting married, we had a family. We had our very first family visit. And that is a visit where the child gets to visit with his family. It was at the Department of Social Services, DSS, and it was supervised. Very emotional, very almost traumatic to me. It was me doing this by myself because Kevin was working. So it was now, and this is where it was disclosed that a same-sex couple had their child. Because, did you meet? No, you didn't meet them there.
No.
So.
No, he was already in custody.
Alright. But at this point, I think it was disclosed to them that a same-sex couple had their child.
Yeah, the social worker disclosed it.
Yes. And the one parent was religious, and his faith deemed homosexuality as a sin, punishable by death. So, it was a little touch and go emotionally, and then also to process the emotions of, here you have this mother, and she's seeing her baby, and then I have to take this baby away from her. And I remember trying to comfort her, being like, we're really good guys. I'm one of 14 kids. I've raised children before. Don't worry, he's very safe with us, that kind of thing. And I like to believe part of it fell on her heart and she listened. I also think part of it fell on deaf ears. She didn't want to hear anything I was saying. In regards to that, I think if she had her way, she probably would have smacked me in my face, maybe. I know.
No, I don't think so.
No, you don't think so?
She is gentle.
She was
at that point.
Okay. And so there's that. So then these home visits get scheduled every week.
No, then there's the one at Parsons.
Wait, that's when
then I was there.
What I'm saying is, we then, after the first one, it sets up a schedule.
Oh.
They're going to happen every week.
Oh, you said home visits. That's what it was.
No, I'm sorry. Family visits. Every week, and they were going to be on a Wednesday.
Yep.
At 2 o'clock-ish or so. And a couple mom did, right? Mom brought him to 1 or 2? God, 5 years can barely remember.
No.
Mom
not in the beginning. You're thinking of. So he did one directly at DSS. Then I got moved to Parsons, and it was on Wednesday night. It was at night. It was at 5:30 because it didn't affect our schedule. And we drove there, and Mom and Dad came, and they were brought in one entrance, we were brought in another, so there's no overlapping.
Yeah. For all you don't know, Parsons is a organization that provides services to family and children in crisis.
Yeah.
So they were the supervisors for the home visits, and they provided transportation and mediation.
Yep.
For the whole situation.
And they were like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't long.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was it. It was 2 visits,
And then
and then
we showed up to them, and they didn't show up.
no. The visit that you did at DSS, and then the one at Parsons I just was disclosing that happened,
Right.
and then we started showing up,
And then they stopped showing up as like the weeks went on.
Yeah.
We showed up, so then we so you're pulling your hair out because it's very unnerving, and
your stress is like
through the
so
roof.
high.
Because
Yeah.
in our mind, we were set on adoption. This is we're going to adopt them, and you don't realize how many hoops you have to jump through. So in New York State, abandonment has to be 6 months of no meaningful contact with your child. Now, meaningful is all interpreted by your judge.
Court system, yeah.
So if you could have one judge, so you could have a parent not show up to home visits, not do this, not do that, but call, say, 4 months into the situation and speak to the caseworker and ask about the children. And if the judge thinks that's a sincere interaction, that's meaningful interaction. It's not considered abandonment.
Correct.
Because they were calling to check on the children. In regards to that. So
It could.
Doesn't mean it does.
Doesn't mean it does.
All that once again, it's all open to
The variable's like huge.
Right.
Like
what the judge thinks, what the child's law guardian thinks, and we're gonna get into that too. So they stopped showing up. In the meantime, we decided we're going to go to every court case that we have for at least one of us, but we wound up never going alone. We always wound up going together, right?
there's 2 that you missed.
There was 2 minutes.
There's 2 that you missed.
I missed 2. So, reverse that. I don't know why. I probably had work. I think I had to work. So, was it the first one where no parent showed up and the judge made the comment?
No. That came down the line.
So, you go to these. So they're called placement hearings.
Placement hearings, then they turn to permanency hearings. Yeah.
So we're going through placement hearings. So it's where you go. They check once a month to see what's going on.
So what it is that a child is labeled. Okay. So there's several labels. There is return to home, which all children in foster care start off with that, because the goal is to return the child to home. Then there's permanent placement through adoption,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's adoption. Boom, boom, boom.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the 3 little steps.
There's also permanent placement without adoption. Like if the child's old enough and doesn't want to be adopted,
age out. Yeah,
they could say choose.
That's
to stay in
super
foster
rare.
care.
So rare.
So, in regards to that, and that's another problem with the foster system in general. You have a lot of these children in foster care who don't get adopted. They age out and then they're left on their own at 18. Nothing. It's sad.
Yeah.
In regards to that. So we're going to at our first permanency hearing, we meet Nassim's attorney, a woman by the name of Barbara Lee.
Yep.
And at first, I'm going to be very honest, and if you're watching this, Barbara, I'm very honest right now. I was very nervous because she seemed like a very
nice woman, right?
To me, I thought she seemed a little stern. I was like, it's very traditional family. Not communicating, Mom.
No.
I didn't think she was down with gays. There we go. That's the best way to put it. I'm hoping she's down.
Oh.
But that's my only fear I had, and that's had nothing really to do with anything she did. It's because it was my own fear that a certain generation all are not okay with gays. So my parents' generation, she's gonna cause so many. So by law, she needs to meet with her client at least once. It doesn't matter how old he is or she is. she needs to meet with them just once.
While they're in care.
So she comes to the house. Now, Nassim is like 3 months old.
Yeah.
So she's meeting with them. So I am making sure the house is immaculate. There's not a thing out of place.
We're hoping that the time we had 2 dogs, we're hoping they're going to be behaved. So we're not going to risk it. We'll just put them downstairs with my mother.
Nope, don't want one peeing on her or one biting or anything like that.
Not that
butters,
but
you never know. So she comes, and the most nicest woman I've ever met.
We had a great.
She probably stayed for
a while.
A while.
You were going to say 3 hours. It wasn't 3 hours.
It was a while.
It was an hour and a half, maybe.
So she stayed for a while.
Very lovely woman. I liked her when I met her at Core, but I always see the positive in everyone.
Kevin likes everybody.
I like everyone.
So I grew to love her. She was amazing. And, of course, Kevin and her had more interaction because Kevin has a job where he was more free to be on the phone with things and to be more... he has more free time to manage his own time, where I was working for an organization where, I was very... scheduled, and my productivity was clocked very adherently. This was before I was a nurse. So, we meet her. We find out she's totally hip with the gays, loves the gays, and she has no disclaimers about what makes a family. Love makes a family. I think that's something she said.
Yeah.
Love makes a family. Doesn't matter.
She loved our interaction with Nassim. She could see that he was totally bonded with us so quickly. It was great.
Great. So, boom. And she was driving fast. She advocated for us immensely to keep Nassim. So, a tip for everyone who's who's doing foster care, who wishes to adopt. You really need a good person
foster that relationship with
their law guardian. Is let them know that you are in this for the long haul, and that you are doing foster care. This is not a job to you. This is something you're doing because you want to help this child. You want to give this child a home, and that's like very boom, because their word carries so much weight within family court.
And the reason why it does is because, like Nassim, he's 3 months old at this point. They are the voice of the child. Like, it's the same as if Nassim was speaking for himself.
Because they're a third party. They have nothing involved in this case. They just go by what's in front of them. And there was at one time in a permanency hearing, I'm kind of jumping ahead myself. I'll get back to that. So that goes smoothly. This is great. And then we have to have home visits now once a month with his caseworker. Nice girl named Jessica.
Yep.
Very sweet, young. I mean, everyone's young. She's in her 20s, young. Where's that? And she would come once a month. What was great about her is she was one of the very few that would work evenings and come to the house when we were home from work. Like, we didn't have to take time off from work and everything.
Yeah, because everything with foster care is on your dime, meaning during the work hours,
right.
Everything 9 to 5.
They work 9 to 5, so you've got to work into that yourself.
Yeah.
So if they got to do a home visit, you've got to take time off of work. Unless your caseworker is able to be flexible with their hours.
Which she was.
She was very fun. We've had other caseworkers that were like, nope. They would want to come first thing, that would be their first stop at 8 something in the morning. Or they would come or 4:30 at night or 2 in the afternoon. And so you've got to either be late for work, take time off from work, or leave work early. It can be a little trying, especially if you don't have an understanding employer. Or at that time, well, not at that time, but Kevin's employer, extremely understanding, because they're very, even though it's a large sized company, it has a very small, a mom and pop mentality, which is great. So the owner was very pro, yes, this is, get your family, do this.
in my direct reports.
Right.
Or no, people I directly report to.
Very supportive. Where I was still kind of working for the corporate machine, not so understanding. Except for the one company I worked for. I could probably say the name, right?
Yeah.
Maximus.
What are they going to do?
I guess true. Maximus. Very understanding, actually. And that was a call center where, like, you know, I don't know if anybody's worked in a call center, but, like, it's like boom, 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 work. Before I told the job, I disclosed the job, what I did, and they were, oh my God, that's amazing. We're all about family here. And so anytime I had court, doctor's appointment for Nassim, doctor's appointment for foster care, not a problem, got time off. It was great. So the director, she was amazing. Her name, I think it was Nicole at the time. She was really good. Little plug for you. So that was great. And then, help me out here. So we're trucking along.
Yeah.
They're missing visits left and right.
Yeah, like they disappeared.
Boom.
Which for us is great.
Right, for us great. But still stressful because we don't know
Every
if they're going to
Wednesday,
show up on a Wednesday.
Yeah, because what happened is, so every visit turned to every other visit.
Every other Wednesday. Every other
Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. And then then they put in this stipulation that they had a call by this time to confirm they're coming in for their visit. And at this point, they outsourced entirely to that third party named Parsons, where this other woman handled it all. And that was for convenience for us because we're, you know, on our way to these visits, and then we get told, no, never mind.
Which parents have total control over that.
Yeah.
So if a parent wants it at 8 in the morning, it's happening at 8 in the morning. If a parent wants it at 8:30 at night, it's happening at 8:30 at night.
Yeah, they're flexible.
Right, for that.
Yeah.
But they anything to show reunification for the parent.
Yeah.
Which on the flip side can work to someone's advantage, because then in court, if they are missing these visits, the family can't say, well, they're not convenient for us.
Yeah, exactly.
But
now we get it. Now that we're on the other side.
You're choosing this. So it's very, like, you know.
But so the thing is like he was saying.
But we don't think that as we're in the process, like, going through it all.
So every other Wednesday, I can't remember the time specifically, but it was like 1 o'clock, we'll say, for a 2 o'clock appointment. Okay? So from waking time till 1 o'clock, we are like anxiety to the gods, to the point where, and again, very understanding staff I had, like they knew, because, you know, I'm management, so people report to me, and so I would be like, they would know not to bother me every other Wednesday, because I just like, I wasn't sure, it was just very obvious that, like, I was there in body and not in mind till 1 o'clock, and then whew, and then it was fine.
And I'd be texting, calling, emailing. Have you heard? Did you hear anything? Did they call you?
Which, of course, I would have told him instantly.
But, you know, when you're at 10, I'm at 11.
Huh?
When you're at 10,
oh, yeah,
I'm at 11.
So, but yeah.
That kind of thing, so. And then, it kind of became, like, almost there were no visits, like, even phone calls.
Well, then they got canceled, period. But it was a while into it. It's not like we're done.
8 months into it.
So I can't.
9 months into it. Like, I no more visits.
Well, yeah, it had to be.
Right, yeah. And so we're a happy family, just going along, doing our thing, having a great time, and
at that point, like once the visits got canceled, DSS started really giving us more of the lateral control of, like, decisions. We didn't have to, like, they're like, we trust you, like, tell us, but
haircuts,
just, like,
doctor's appointments, stuff like that.
Going out of state, it was kind of like we tell them, they sign the form for us.
When you're in foster care, you can't even get the kid's haircut without parents' permission.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So it was, like, very, like.
And that's something you gotta think about. Like, you had this baby since he was 3 weeks old. He's your baby. Like, in all intents and purposes, he was our son. But there's, like, all this, like, tape, right? It's just like, ugh.
Especially like, oh, we want to leave the country, or not leave the country, leave the state. You know, I have all that family in Jersey, and before before I became a nurse and before all this, we would think nothing of, like, on a Thursday decide we're going to leave work early on Friday and go down for the weekend. Stuff like that. We would do that a lot. And so we'd have to call, and it got to the point where TSS was like, okay, just tell us you're leaving. We're going to Jersey, okay? Stuff like that. So it was kind of, that. And then we went to a permanency hearing. Parents were not showing up, but we were still showing up, which once again shows the judge you're in it for the long haul.
Yeah, how I always equated it is that it would make it easier for the judge to make that hard call if he saw the faces and he saw the family that this child would be going to, and I'm obviously referring to Evo and I.
Right.
So, and there's like this, I would say make it just easier. I don't know what it was.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, it's like, oh, here are two upstanding men. They're here. They're taking time out of their work. Like, it's obvious.
Which he said once.
Like,
that's
yes.
At this point, is like he's like, it's amazing that the foster parents showed up for this hearing. Where are the biological parents?
So, so you work. He knew he worked. That I don't know. And then, meanwhile, all through this, I'm deciding I'm going to go to nursing school. And I'm going to school full-time, working full-time, being a full-time dad.
So we got married in July. He went to nursing school in September.
Yeah. Crazy. So that's what, trucking along. And very interesting. And then, so moving. 8 months go by. And then it's a year. It's a year. It's his birthday.
It's his birthday. It's 11 months to be exact.
11 months, and mom resurfaces.
Yes.
The
blue catch up with her. That's how it happened.
No, not the first time.
Yes.
That's really?
That's what started the whole thing.
I thought that was after. I thought, no, because he was 2. You're right. Oh yeah. All right. So yeah. So.
No, you're thinking after he got after she lost her rights. Now that happened.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
All right. So. Yep. So she, the blue caught up to her. I hope you guys.
I'm sure.
Get what that means.
Nobody knows how I feel.
It's funny.
Well, we got so. Because now she's obtainable.
Right. So now legally, since she's somewhere where the court knows she is, what?
I'm just reliving this.
Legally, they have to bring her there.
No.
To court.
Oh no! I thought we were going to talk about the visit. Remember?
We're gonna get there.
But it happened. The visit happened first.
Right. Can we get to that point?
Okay.
So she's now. Wherever you all know where she is.
Nobody knows.
And so since DSS knows where she is, they have to provide a visit. And so the caseworker calls us and says, I have to take him to this place. And
I'm like, I'm going. Because she was willing to pick him up and bring him to this place, and I'm like, I'll meet you there. I'm going.
Did you go?
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yes,
my memory's so bad.
Yes, I was so not wanting to do this, but I have to. And Jessica was so sensitive. Like she gets it. She was like, I am so sorry, but we have to do this, and she got it. She understood why one of us wanted to be present, and when we were there, she was like. She just really fell for me because I was like,
Did you cry?
No. But I was like, that's so not.
He cried a lot through this process.
Oh, well,
I'm not judging him for that, but it's one of the reasons I do a couple of years.
It's like because this is so not my life. This is not our life at all.
So when you're visiting there, as you all know, you can't bring anything with you. So you can't bring a diaper bag. You can't bring toys. You can't bring anything. So it was a very awkward visit, according to Jessica.
Yeah, because I couldn't go in, so I was in the waiting room. And I had to hand him over to her, and she brought him
Yeah.
in.
So, yeah. So how many, was it 2 visits there?
Just one.
Just one visit. Because then, this is where we're getting smart now. We're now getting smart. We then tell Barbara Lee that we don't think it's a good environment for him, and we don't think it's good for him to be there, and we're very concerned about him being in this environment. So Barbara Lee, being a good law guardian, took what we had to say, and she thought about it, and then she petitioned the court that why Mom was still in this place, that visitation be ceased, because it was not a conducive place for a child to be. Now, Mom could have fought that, but her attorney advised her against that because she needs to show that she wants what's best for a child.
And the court could have said no too. Like,
correct. But
that's how we kind of like had a little solstice and everything. It's like the court agreed.
Right, did agree with us. And at this point now, Nassim has gone from return to family to permanent placement. So
Through adoption.
Permanent placement to adoption. So,
and what that means,
that could change at any time.
Yeah.
At any permanency hearing, it could be changed back.
And what that means, though, guys, is that for the first time in this whole experience, the goal is now aligned between Barbara Lee, the law guardian, us, the adoptive parents, and Department of Social Services. We all want now the same thing.
Right. Though Department of Social Services still has to try to reunite the family.
But now they don't have to go through all, like,
a bunch of rules.
Yeah.
Because it goes it's all about reunite the family until it hits that tipping point and becomes what is the best thing for this child? Is the best thing reuniting this family or removing this child from the only family he's known, a stable, loving home with 2 parents, to something else? And so that's what that was. It was now what's best for Nassim, not what's best for the family. So that kind of started the whole ball rolling there.
Yeah.
So with Mom resurfacing, of course, Dad also resurfaces. In regards to that, and at first they were not in a relationship, then they got back into a relationship.
Turbulent
one.
Now, as far as like personalities, like the dad's the one you have to be more fearful of because he was a lot more like headstrong, where the mother you actually feel for her because she's like, it's hard to explain. She's sick and she was like a hollow person. Like you'd have to be involved, like you see it, and she's very like beat down, very beat down. So she would never like.
She's made some bad choices in life.
Yeah, and they just kept
getting badder and badder
till it got really bad. But go on.
So we're at this point, and it's now 1 month. So he's a year, and I'm like, okay, still trying to think positive. A little did I know is Kevin was on the verge of breaking down because he really thought we were going to lose him.
Yeah, so a cute little side story with this. So like I keep things to myself sometimes because I do. I don't know. And I was like, planning this fantastic first birthday for Nassim. And
the theme was penguins.
Penguins. Because why?
Nico has 2 daddies.
We had like a little penguin pond with these little stuffed penguins
that you could adopt.
That you adopted, and they all have a little bio attached to them, and it was great. So this is so cheesy, but I talk about this all the time. So for me, nothing's ever like. I'm always disappointed with everything I do because I always set the bar too high, and I can never reach my own standards. Right. So it was my idea to have it at this beautiful park, and it's May because his birthday's May 22nd, and the weather is turbulent in May in New York, and so my biggest fear was, and why we didn't have an outside wedding, was I was afraid it was going to rain, but whatever. Sure enough, the forecast talked for rain, but it was in a big pavilion, so I'm like, you know what, we're going to make the best of it, we're going to enjoy the fact that, our son is turning 1, blah, blah, blah. So I kept praying for good weather. And then all this started happening. And then I'm like, you know what? Screw the weather. I don't care anymore. Let us keep our son. Please let us keep her. That's all I cared about at that point. But the miracle is that it was the day before was forecast to rain. And that day was beautiful.
Very beautiful.
It was like 75 and sunny. And guys, we packed up everything after we had our party. We pulled into the driveway. Not more than 5 minutes later, it started raining.
Not just sprinkle.
It rained. And it rained for the rest of it rained. So it's like, it's just, So that gave me a little bit of like comfort that I'm like, all right. I'm like, that was like, God's on our side with this one. But I was so afraid we're going to lose him. And I mean, you guys know how much I love my son. You guys know it. And I
And you cry. Oh, he's going to start crying, guys. Oh, he's crying. Oh, come here, honey. Oh, I love you. So anyway.
Yeah.
So she then she leaves the place where she's at and gets to go to a place where women get to live to get better from a certain sickness. Not a TB clinic. So she's there, and we have a permanency hearing. And
that was supposed to be nothing.
Nothing.
Okay, we weren't even. This was the first one we weren't nervous about because it's like it's so
right
nothing.
Right after this hearing, we're going into the abandonment trial.
Yeah,
which is where rights could be stripped.
Oh, because you have permanency hearings every 6 months.
Oh, every month.
No, permanency hearings.
Oh, permanency hearings. I'm sorry.
So what it is so when DSS removes a child from the custody of their parents, that
you have a placement hearing.
You get a placement hearing
every month.
Yeah. So what happens is here's the whole thing real quick. Boom. Is so, oh my God, this child's in a bad place, so we're gonna remove him. Okay. So they have to get an emergency hearing like the very next day, if not the same day, depending on the time that the child's taken, to get a court order to say yes, legally DSS can have custody of this child. Okay. And that court order is only good every 6 months. You got to renew it like a little license. So we're just renewing. We've been to a ton of them by now.
So we show up to court and find out that our judge is on vacation.
Yay!
And a new judge is going to hear this permanency.
Jamaica man. Yes.
So, okay. Boom. So we get in there. New courtroom, new nothing, and we meet this new judge. I don't want to badmouth any.
Just don't.
Yeah, we're not gonna nothing.
Just don't. Just don't.
Because we still see this man out. We still see him out in public. He's actually.
There's no clue who we are.
No clue who we are, but we still see. He might even be retired by now.
By now, he probably is. But anyway, so go on.
So, mom's attorney then states that the place where she's at, she's allowed to have children, and she would like her child back today.
That day.
And
been out of the other place for like a month.
Yeah,
max. Like.
Yep. And so I'm thinking like he's gonna like laugh and say you're off your rocker. He then starts to contemplate, and when
he's thinking,
he's like, oh, what should we do? She wants him back.
So mind you, Eva and I were holding hands, and I started squeezing his hand so tight, and I'm like, we're making noises, I guess, in the back.
I'm getting tunnel vision, and I'm about to scream to the attorney, you need to do something.
And she turns around.
Oh, the DSS attorney.
Yeah.
You need to do something fast, because I'm going to lose it.
Yeah, because Barbara Lee wasn't there, because she doesn't have to be at
No, she had to stand in.
Oh, that's right. So it was a double whammy.
Yeah, she had a stand-in.
That's right. I'm like,
a stand-in.
yeah, because this would have went very different. Yeah.
So the attorney looks back and sees us.
We got this. We're making noises, I think.
We probably were like, ah! And we must
What's going on? What's going on?
White as sheets. Like, we must have, like, all the color must have drained out of us. And then she was, Your Honor, would you prefer...
Well, no, she goes, I got this. Don't worry, guys. I got this. I'm like, all right.
And it's just, would you prefer that our judge, our permanent, we postpone this and he can make a decision on this as we're meeting next week for an abandonment trial? And then he goes, yeah, that's a good idea. And then bangs the gavel and we're good.
And we're like, whoo!
I almost turned my Fruit of the Looms into a fudge factory that day. If you know what movie that's from, credit to you guys. So leave a comment and leave a message in the comments. So thanks so much for watching. We're Family Fab 76.
Love you
Daddy
guys.
Darko.
And I'm Papa Redbeard.
Please hit the subscribe button and follow notification. Please follow us on Instagram and TikTok, FamilyFab76 on both platforms.
Hopefully TikTok stays around.
Hopefully TikTok is still around when this video gets posted.
Yeah.
And if you find it in your hearts and you can, please check out our Patreon page. Thank you so much.
Bye.